So the Cloudinary DEM is all about collaboration. And as developers, the Cloudinary's platform allows you to focus all your attentions on how enriching the customer experience. Now, with our DEM, you can also put in place a more agile and frictionless cycles of content improvements while collaborating with marketing and other stakeholders. And finally, you can close this loop by taking insights into asset usage and customer engagement in order to feed feedback into your next cycle. When you put this cycle in place using our platform, you not only improve customer experience and shortening your time to market, you also gain productivity, you also increase your productivity, you reduce your wasted time, and you lower your costs. So what does it mean when you talk about taking a developer-first approach? So first of all, I guess the first and foremost, it's about keeping open communication channels to learn about pains and needs from our community of developers. And that means we need to provide you with the right range of SDKs so you can build your own solution. It means we take an API-first approach, which means that we always try to first build real useful APIs and make them open and available for you to build what you need. It means our SDKs are open and open source, and it means we share metrics, knowledge, our passion with you in many ways. How does it look from our solution point of view? So I guess the manipulation and delivery URL is probably the most commonly known and utilized API that we provide. But on top of that, we provide you SDKs, whether it's server-side, client-side, or mobile-specific, in order to you to better utilize your time, respect your time. We also provide a ready-made UI in the form of widgets that you can customize and embed in your applications. And the developer console is the place where you go when you want to look at the dashboards and the usage, where you want to try out new transformations, and where you want to search using our media library. We also provide you a multi-CDN solution for optimized delivery, and a whole range of tools and documentations that are freely available for you to educate yourself and improve. All of that is an ongoing challenge to always be innovative and provide you with the tools that you need. For instance, we just recently launched Vue. Vue, again, based on requests from you. Vue is probably the fastest growing in terms of JavaScript framework, in terms of developer adoption. So we're very excited to release that, and I think we had about 600 downloads since the beta release in March. So keep on downloading and using that. But we don't stop here, and obviously there's a lot of efforts going on right now in order to bring you more support based on your needs for these frameworks, again, focusing most on mobile frameworks. So that's coming next within this year. We pay special attention to progressive web initiatives, and especially for the Google's accelerated mobile pages initiative. So as you know, this proved to boost performance of mobile pages for almost 3 times. It does put restrictions on the way that you have to write these pages, but we feel, and we see no reason why you shouldn't be able to enjoy Cloudinary's optimized delivery and manipulation capabilities when you use AMP, and we just submitted a proposal for a new extension for AMP for you to be able to do that, and obviously we hope that will help you with getting the highest ranking on Google search. But we're always open for your requests and your needs, and taking a look at the SDK that we've released, and these are very popular, but much has changed in the last 7 years than the first SDK was released. And one aspect specifically is if you look at the way our SDK closely follows the URL syntax. So this is obviously very useful for developers who are already familiar with our URL manipulation URL syntax, and they feel it's very easy to generate this code. But it's, I guess, a little bit strange or unfriendly for new programmers that are most familiar with object-oriented programming concepts. So I'm glad to announce that we are contemplating this new next generation of SDK. And let's see on what's cooking in this regard. So let's take a very simple example. Imagine that you're trying to do this simple resizing and intelligent cropping of this sample image. And this is how we will write this code in PHP, and that will translate to that URL. So when we contemplate SDK2, we're basically going to generate the same URL. So the end result is the same. But as you can see from this new syntax, we're taking a more action-oriented approach. So basically, it speaks in the language of the transformation that you want to apply. We can even do better and provide you quick actions for common transformations that you're trying to do. But it's not only about these aspects of being more developer-friendly, because when we try to improve the developer experience, we're also looking at standards and best practices, and a lot of change in this past year. So we're trying to follow Open API standards and others, all to improve the developer experience. So here's a comment from a loving comment from one of our customers. So we mentioned the Developer Console. This is an important tool from our perspective because most of the new comers to Cloudinary use it to try out transformation, to make sure that they're utilizing and understanding the syntax of how to build a transformation. But I guess we can improve the user interface. And as Nadav mentioned, we are focusing on devising this new image manipulation dialog or manipulation editor, where again focuses on the actions that you want to take, more friendly controls, more easy cropping, autocomplete for the URL, and also assets browser where you can test your transformation in real time on different similar assets to see that it works as expected. I would want to focus now on new image manipulation capabilities. So we all saw that Cloudinary roots are in images, and still images are still the most prevailing and probably highly effective elements when we're trying to engage with customers. And as they say, an image tells 1,000 words. We can also look at that as, and actually nowadays, you probably understand that you need 1,000 images to tell a story. So it's all about automation at scale, and this is what we're trying to do. We don't want to build a new Photoshop. We want to provide you the ways to do that at scale. For example, here you can see one smart transformation that is being applied to a multitude of images, taking into account the content and the composition of the image, automatically cropping it in the most ideal way by one transformation. On the other end, you can take one asset and derive any variant that you need, again, very easily using our platform. You can apply you can enjoy our set of rich manipulation options, including over 60 effects. Again, everything operates or executes at scale in real time. And you can take advantage of our auto-everything capabilities, meaning the format and the quality can be automatically adapted for optimizing delivery. And our intelligent focal gravity can help you do this cropping intelligently. And we invest heavily in deep learning technology in order to facilitate this auto-everything magic. As an example, this is something that we just released. Imagine that you want to take these images, and you need to, ideally, fill the entire viewport of the user's device, regardless of orientation, right? And the challenge, what's the challenge? The challenge is that you don't know the content of the image. You don't know the subject of the image up front. The location of the subject in the image is unpredictable. How do you do it at scale? So we had our classic G-Auto, the focal gravity capability. And you see the results are pretty good. But we can do better. And with deep learning, we just launched a new algorithm that basically calculates or finds out the right intent or the subject of the image that should most likely capture the user attention, the viewer attention. So you see the results are much more improved and much more tells the story of the image. That's a good example of if you use our G-Auto, our capability, you basically didn't do anything in the code. You didn't need to do any change in your code, that you got that immediately. Similarly, let's imagine a slightly different challenge where you have this original image, but you need to always focus on the right element in that image. So using our normal subject-based G-Auto, you will get these fine results. But let's imagine that you are the vendor of this wine glass and you want to always focus on the wine glass in that image. You have to instruct us, and we will be able to do that for you automatically, as you can see in these results. What's next? Where do we go from here, at least in the foreseen future? So augmented reality is going to be a significant part in e-commerce and other use cases. 3D models are at the heart of AR. We are going to allow you to upload your factory models, manipulate them, and deliver them in an optimized way across devices. We're going to provide you a way to train our object detection in order to make it more fit to your needs, detect your logo, detect objects that's of interest to you, using a user-friendly way of doing that, again, based on deep learning. We're going to allow you to do visual similarity search. So you can upload an image and look for similar images within your media library. Itai mentioned accessibility. So we are already released few features that helps you to simulate a way an image could look in the eyes of people suffering from some color blindness condition. We're going to invest in that further and also provide you an accessibility score that will help you to identify these images up front, these problematic images. We're going to allow you to use masks and maps that allows to apply specific effects for interesting part on the image or some parts of the image. So for instance, we can take a depth map, either embedded within the image format or inferred from the image, and help you apply a mask that does these kind of nice tricks. Usually you can only do that in Photoshop, and we want to allow you to do that at scale, and much more.